Hi guys, so I'm going to start making some little videos to post on our Make Cosmetics YouTube channel. These are going to just be little informative videos for you guys to watch to gain more information about the treatments that we offer here. We're going to be discussing things like pre-care, post-care, complications, risks and client suitability, and these should give you a bit more of an informative decision on what treatments are right for you. So today I want to do a little video about brows. As it's getting warmer, it's reminding me of summer, which isn't really too far away. So with brows, semi-permanent makeup, we advise clients to book them about 2 months before a holiday. This way you'll be able to get your first session in and then your complimentary top-up that we offer, and they'll be fully healed before you go away in the sun. So as well, if you're kind of an avid gym fan, or if you swim a lot, or you've got plans to go on in a sauna for a spa day, we'd recommend waiting sort of 2 weeks for that as well, just to make sure your brows are fully healed. Everyone is so different. Some people's scalps fall off after about 7 days, some people it's 10, sometimes it's a little bit longer. So really it's up to you and how your brows are healing as to know whether or when you can do exercise, swim. So really you just need to monitor that. All I can do is advise you and give you kind of a guideline. So a little few facts that sometimes people ask me is, can I have my eyebrows wax tinted? Are you going to shave them all off? So no, we don't shave all your eyebrows off. We try and keep as much hair as we can. This way it's going to look more natural. Once we've done the tattoo, it means that your hair will blend in nicely with the tattoo. Tinting, waxing, it's not really a problem if you have or you haven't. We go over the brows, draw up the brows first and get rid of any unwanted hair that's outside of the shape that we've drawn. So it doesn't really matter, we'll sort of tidy them up before we go ahead to the treatment anyway. So next is just a little bit of information, client suitability. Obviously we don't treat anyone that's under 18, so you have to be 18. We also don't treat anyone that's pregnant or breastfeeding either. That's just for insurance purposes. Also, if you're on blood thinning medication, obviously if it's prescribed, then carry on taking that. We don't recommend anyone stops any medication that's a prescription. But sometimes blood thinning medication can make you bleed a little bit more. It's normally fine and it's manageable. It can just be a bit difficult for the pigment to hold. Sometimes clients might need to come back for a third session if that's the case. Also things like fish oils, omega-3, and any sort of herbal oils, herbal tablets, they can make your blood a bit thinner as well. So again, try and avoid them if you can, if they're not prescription, on the lead up to your appointment, maybe for like 7 days or something, just so it means that maybe when we're doing the treatment, the pigment's going to hold better. Also, you want to avoid alcohol for 24 hours before your treatment. This also thins the blood and can make it a little bit more difficult for the pigment to hold. So when you come and see me, we do the consultation and the treatment on the same day. We'll go through a little medical history form first and get your details. Just gives us a little outline, again, if you're on any blood thinning medications, if you bruise easily, or if there's anything that we might need to know before we go on to the treatment. You'll then just sign an informed consent, which tells you about the risks. With semi-permanent makeup, it is very low. Really, it's just kind of the healing time. Sometimes people don't hold the pigment very well, so it's just kind of making sure you understand that. Things like oily skin types tend to not hold the pigment so well. I always recommend going for a shaded brow if you have an oilier skin type, because it holds better than the hair strokes. The hair strokes can sometimes migrate, like the fine lines can migrate in the skin and kind of blur a bit. So definitely I'd recommend going for an oilier skin base. I definitely recommend going for shaded if you've got an oilier skin base. So once you've gone through your consultation, we will then discuss your brows, discuss your concerns. You can let me know what sort of shape you want. Some clients, they want their brows bringing in slightly, or they're a little bit short, so we can lengthen them, or maybe you want more of an arch. So we'll discuss all that, and I'll have a look at the brow hair colour as well, and then I can mix my colours to match that. We will also talk about what style you want. Obviously we do a range of different styles. We do hair strokes, which is the fine hair-like simulation throughout the brow. Gives a more natural result. Some of my older clients tend to prefer that. We also do a combination brow, so that's where we do hair strokes at the front, which then goes into shading. That looks great on everyone as well, if you want kind of that natural fluffy front and then more of a shaded tail, so it kind of gives you the best of both. It kind of looks like you've put your pencil on, but they still look quite soft and natural. And then we've got the full shaded brow. The common misconception with that is that it's going to look really heavy, like a block brow. I have the shaded brows. I started with hair strokes, but then throughout time I've just then ended up just shading them in because I tend to wear pencil anyway. So I found that really it just meant that I wasn't penciling any little bits in because I do like a little bit more of a heavier look. We still give a little bit of ombre to the front of the brow, so it's not going to look harsh. And you'll notice as the brows fade that it'll kind of pixelate and go quite soft at the front and holding better on the tail, which looks really nice and soft still. So we don't do any heavy block brows here. It's not kind of our style or our look. You can always add to the brows if you wanted to make that look. If you were going out on a night out and if you wanted it a bit heavier, you can just pencil it in. It's really great because you're always going to have that shape there. So for you, it's so much easier to know where to pluck because you've got that guide. And also, if you're not very, good or confident at drawing your brows on, again, you have that guide. So it's really easy for you to just go over. It'll take you a few minutes. So yeah, we discuss all that. Whilst we're doing that, we'll be you'll have numbing cream on. That'll help to numb the skin. It's just a topical numbing cream. We usually use Emla or something like that. And then we'll go ahead to draw your brows up. Once we've drawn the brows up, I kind of measure them all so they're kind of symmetrical. Obviously no one's faces is symmetrical though, so we'll kind of sit you up, have a little look. We might need to tweak some areas. You can have a look as well and then decide if that's right for you or if you want a little bit more of an arch. We kind of work together on that. Once we've found the perfect shape, we'll then go on to the tattooing. Normally takes me around 35 minutes or so to tattoo, so it's not very long. The first pass can feel slightly uncomfortable, but after that, we'll pop some more numbing cream on. The next numbing cream I have works deeper in the layers of the skin, so kind of numbs it from the inside out. So you'll eventually kind of not really feel anything. After the treatment, sometimes the brows can feel a little bit raw though, or a little bit sore. That's completely normal. You might be a little bit red around the outside as well. It feels kind of almost like a burn, like if you skid it across your knees, like a little sort of burn like that, but it's bearable. So aftercare, we give you an aftercare card. I also discuss all this with you verbally as well, just to make sure you fully understand. So you have to keep the area dry for 7 to sort of 14 days, as discussed earlier in the video. If the scabs get wet, it can then risk the scab going like soggy and pulling out the pigment, which is what we don't want. We want the pigment to hold, so it's really important not to get them wet. When you're in the shower, try washing your hair without getting your whole face in. When you're putting makeup on and off, maybe wipe with a cloth instead of rinsing your whole face. Yeah, and also you want to avoid the gym. When you sweat, obviously you have salt in your skin. The salt actually can push the pigment out. We use salt to get rid of semi-permanent makeup, so it's really important. You're a bit of a gym freak, you go to the gym a lot, you do things like spinning, CrossFit, you really do need to avoid them after you've had your brows done. So just bear that in mind when you're booking the treatment. Obviously you don't want to put any makeup on the area. They're going to be really fresh, so you want to put makeup on around, but just not on the brows whilst they're healing. They will sort of be fine the first day, second day, and probably the third day. And then after that, they'll start to go quite crispy and scab up. Obviously we're creating a wound, so it's normal for the scabs to crisp up. Sometimes people just get a little bit of flakiness, other people get full-on scabby eyebrows. So everyone is different, so it's just managing that. It is a little bit of a horrible downtime to the treatment, but it's normally only for sort of 3 days. Again, everyone's different, could be 2, could be 4, could be 5, but generally around 3 days. That's when your eyebrows will kind of flake off and the pigment will come away and it will leave a softer colour underneath. So don't worry if they feel a bit too dark at first, because they will soften and lighten up by around sort of 40% or so. when they flake off, you'll probably have little bits on your pillow. Again, you can't really help it if you sleep on one side. This side might come out a little bit too soon to the other side, which can create patchiness. Don't worry, it's absolutely fine. Obviously, you come back and see me for your complimentary top-up, and we do the whole brow again. So yeah, we'll revisit that and we'll go over it if we need to a little bit darker. So yeah, that's kind of the main aftercare really. If they feel a little dry, we just explain for you to let them dry heal. Once all the scabs have come away, you can then put a little bit of Vaseline on. That can just help any dryness underneath the skin. Sometimes as well, if the pigment does feel a little bit too light, don't worry, it's just the new skin's healed over the tattoo, and that is normal. Once that skin's shed, the tattoo then reappears slightly. So yeah, like I said, we can revisit all that on the top up and then go darker if we need to, or use the same color. Again, if you feel like you want to go a little bit thicker, we can go a bit thicker. It's totally up to you. But yeah, that's a little bit more information about brows. If you have any questions, just send us a little DM. Also, if there's any other subjects you want me to talk about, please do let me know. I'm going to be doing these videos more often just to give you guys a little bit more information. But yeah, there we go, all about brows.